All right, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Sportsbook Sports, all things sports betting. I am your host, Conor, with my boy here, GA.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 3.
Yeah, feels good to be back. I guess today I'll just give a little bit of a cap of what we're going to do for today. We got a few topics on the board. Again, we're going to be discussing the NBA playoffs. We'll give you guys a little bit of a recap of how our picks went yesterday. Just give you a heads up, mine were pretty shitty.
It was a tough day. It was a tough day in the NBA world.
Yeah, it's an ugly weekend overall here in New York, too. A lot of rain, so
Yeah.
I think that's just translating to what the outcome's been in the sports book.
Yeah.
And then also we're going to do a little bit of a discussion on one specific topic as we dive deeper into the strategies of our betting portfolio, with that being reverse line movement.
Yeah, I think with all our stuff, we're trying to educate people on how we look at stuff. We're also just trying to get a conversation going. We don't want to come in here and just give our picks and get off. We enjoy this stuff. We talk about this stuff all day long. So as part of our program, we're going to be giving out our picks. We're going to be talking about the matchups, but we're also going to try to hit on a topic every episode.
Yeah. I think as we keep moving forward, you'll see plenty of different topics that we discuss because the sports betting industry is it's sort of rounding out, I guess is the term that you can make it. There's a lot more avenues that people have been finding way to dive into the industry, whether that's being, the analytics side of it, people giving out statistics that they can give it to the average bettor and give them a better idea of handicapping the games. So there's the data side of it, and then there's people out there that have been, betting sports for thousands of years. Well, not really thousands of years, but for a long-ass time. And now they're selling their picks. So you're seeing that side of the industry. So as we dive deeper, we just want to, breach a topic every episode just to give our viewers a little bit more background information when it comes to placing sports bets and also just giving themselves more knowledge as they decide to pick games.
Yeah, and if you guys like a topic, if you have, you guys have talked to your friends or whatever, and you guys have a topic that you want us to dive deeper into, definitely let us know, leave a comment, and we'll incorporate it because, we're here for you guys. We're trying to grow this thing, and, we have an idea of what we want to talk about, but if there's something going on, maybe it's state-specific. Maybe if you're living in Maryland or Illinois or these places, Indiana, that are just opening up and you have questions, let us know. Every state's a little different. We're in New York, so we don't have the options to bet that everyone else has.
Yep.
So, just let us know what you guys are seeing out there. We want to have a conversation about it. So that's why we're here. That's why we're going to be diving into reverse line movement today. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, and, we thought it was a good topic because it's something that you were talking about, like analytics and maybe trends, if you will. Yesterday we saw was all 4 favorites hit in the NBA game.
Yep.
So, stuff like that where you start seeing a pattern with some of the stuff. Reverse line movement is one of those things that a lot of gamblers for years now if they see that reverse line movement happen, their ears perk up a little bit and they start saying like, okay, maybe this is something I'm going to take. And I mean, when it comes to football, I think we do it all the time.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's something that the sharper bettors, when they develop their own specific system, it's something that they stick to. It's, when you're choosing bets, obviously this industry isn't foolproof. It's not bulletproof. You're not going to win 100% of your games. Yep. So it ends up becoming a system that you believe in and sticking to it. And the sharper bettors, I think, take the reverse line movement and use that as a tool to develop their picks for each day. But when it comes to that, there's a million different systems out there. There's different algorithms you can put together to
people
develop.
Are selling their systems. People are selling their picks, all that stuff.
Exactly. There's just different ways that you can go about selecting your picks for the day. But finding those out and sticking to them is one of the tough things.
Yeah, and that's why in yesterday's episode we talked about like bankroll management, understanding what your number is when it comes to placing a bet. You want to be placing a consistent bet, so we call that a unit. And whether your unit's $10, $100, $1,000, whatever it might be, anything in between, You just want to be consistent with it. So something that we use a lot, and like I said, we use a lot in football season, because especially for college football, there's so many games on. You might get 2 or 3 reverse line movements every Saturday or every week. So for NBA, especially now that we're in the playoffs, it's much harder to find.
Yep.
But again, it happened yesterday with one of the games. So when it does happen, we like to jump on it.
Yeah. So just to give you guys a little bit more background on what the reverse line movement is
let's just talk about like the line.
Yeah,
so Las Vegas sets a line.
Yes, and let's just make it pretty generic. So let's say yesterday or today there's the matchup versus the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn Nets. Perfect. And this is all hypothetical spreads, but say the spread's -5 for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep.
And the public's betting heavily on the Nets.
Yep. So the line is set at 5.
Is set at -5, which means that the Nets need to win by 6 points or more.
Sure.
If the Nets are being bet heavily, and line movement being such a crucial part in Vegas's whole system, which way should that line move if they believe the favorite's going to win?
Right. So the way I look at it, to your point, is you think it's going to move up. You think it's going to go from -5 to -6 to -7 until you find that 50-50 balance. We talked about that yesterday.
Yes.
Or the last episode about how Vegas wants that 50-50 money. Yes. So if they see a lot of money going on one side, you would expect it to move
up.
Yeah.
The reason being is, just as Greg mentioned, they want to get this closest to 50-50 as possible.
Yep.
So if the Nets are getting bet 70%, they're going to move the line up to -6, -7, depending on how much room they want to make. So then that garners the interest of people betting the Celtics at +6 or at +7. Maybe those people will think it's a little bit more comfortable of a position to be in to make that bet.
Yep.
But where reverse line movement comes in is where
that's just line movement.
Yeah, that's just strictly
if you look at the word reverse line movement, you can kind of break it down. So you see the line, now you see line movement the way you would expect it to happen. Because like you're saying, they make the Celtics, they go from +5 to +6 to +7. All of a sudden now the Celtics look a lot better. You're getting 2 or 3 more points than you were expecting.
Yep.
And now hopefully more of the money's going on the Celtics. It balances it out. That's kind of what you expect.
Yes.
Now with the reverse line movement, because of the word reverse, it's backwards.
Yep. So the line would go then from -5 in a reverse line movement trend.
Yep.
You would see the line move from -5 to -4.5 to -4.
Yep.
Which, if you think about it just logically, they want more people to bet on the Nets at that point. If they're lowering the point spread, if they're willing to drop the line from where the favorite is, and the public's already putting a ton of money on the Nets, why are they willing to give the Nets less points?
Right, to make the Nets even look more enticing than they already were.
Exactly. So it's like, all right, we got 1 million fucking people betting them at -5.
Yeah.
Why in the hell would we move them to -4 to get more people to bet on the Nets?
And that's when your ears should perk up a little bit, and something should go off. When you're looking at the reverse line movement stuff, or just when you're looking at spreads, that's when you start saying, okay, we have reverse line movement on this game. And, like you were saying, Vegas is kind of moving the opposite way of what you would expect Vegas to do.
Yeah, and from a sharp handicapper or a sharp bettor standpoint, like you mentioned, that'll make you excited. That'll get you hyped because you're seeing that line movement. And maybe you like the Celtics already before the game, and then that extra oomph that Vegas is giving you to show you that line's moving that way, maybe it puts it over the top. And that's how you develop these systems.
Yeah.
Reverse line movement, for one, if you look at every game every single day, it's not something you see all the time.
No, because the lines, they do move. It's an evolving thing. There's a bunch of sports books out there. Vegas has a ton of people working on this stuff to set the lines.
Yes.
So the lines are moving. By the time we do our research and we come to record, the line moves. By the time we record and you listen to us, the line moves again.
Yep.
And by the time the actual game tips off, the line moves again. So that's why it's important, one, to get ahead of it, get those early odds before the line moves, and then 2, follow it as it goes. One thing that I do have that I know when I talk about it with some of my friends, they start listening. They say, okay, I kind of understand what you're talking about, reverse line movement.
Yep.
So in this scenario that we just put out with the Nets and the Celtics, the line is moving down for the Nets. So it's going from -5 to -4 to -3. Your alarm goes off. You say, okay, that's reverse line movement. Mm-hmm. Now, here's a question I get from a lot of my friends. Which way do I bet? Does that mean that because the line's moving down, I should bet the Nets? Or does that mean because the line's moving down, I should be betting Boston?
Well, I would say Boston.
Yeah.
That's the reverse line movement trigger.
And that's the thing that I think people get hung up on a lot, because when the reverse line movement's happening, you see, okay, well, Boston was +5, now they're +3. Why would I take them? I'm getting less points. But that's where we're trying to get you a step ahead of Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to talk about the mentality and the way Vegas thinks about these things. You see all the money's going on Brooklyn. Why would I put money on Boston?
Yeah.
You're trying to kind of get ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah, and to your point, it's funny because I've listened to a lot of handicappers that have been doing this stuff for decades, and they say, and it fits perfect to what you just mentioned about some of your friends discussing it, is the best bet to make is the most uncomfortable bet.
Yeah.
So you're looking at that, right? Just hypothetically speaking, you're like, there's no fucking way the Celtics lose by or cover that 3-point spread against the fucking Nets.
Yeah.
Superstar. But those uncomfortable bets are the ones that win 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's the ones it doesn't feel good when you put it in, but it feels good when it cashes.
Yeah, because you're just like, I'm a sharp bettor. Mm-hmm. I've thought of something that no one else thought of because everyone had their money on the Nets. Mm-hmm. And it blows your mind when it happens because you're just like, how the fuck did Vegas know what was going on?
Yeah, that Boston might win outright.
Yeah, and there's a million different things. Now, to dive in a little bit deeper to it, reverse line movement is just like one strategy.
Of course.
The line movement itself has a ton of different things that will change the line movement. Mm-hmm. You might see reverse line movement.
That's a great point.
And it's like Kevin Durant got injured.
Yeah. It's not always
and that's what's
foolproof.
swaying the line. Exactly. Yep. Or they're sitting 2 of their guys. You'll see this on random nights in the
regular
NBA.
Season game.
Yeah. And those type of times, you need to evaluate it a little bit deeper. But if you look at it and it's just a straight up head-to-head matchup, both teams are full strength, just like in the playoffs, whatever it may be, and you see that reverse line movement, that's something that I certainly love to play.
And that's why I think it's a great point, because we kind of talked about it a second ago about how people have these strategies and they're trying to sell you on their Excel spreadsheets and all this stuff. But as a bettor, if you want to get better, you have to think about the whole picture.
Definitely.
So even though we're talking about reverse line movement, and even though we were saying a minute ago, like college football Saturday, if we might see 3 or 4, we're going to take them. But we're evaluating each of those. Just because reverse line movement is happening, to your point, we're not just locking in it automatically, because we're looking maybe a quarterback's out, maybe some star player's out. You have to think about these things. So that's why I think we're trying to separate ourselves a little bit from everyone else, where we're not coming to you saying, like, take this, without a doubt. We're trying to get you to think about it a little more, educate people a little bit more. And this is, I think, just a great kind of introduction into more advanced topics.
Yeah.
If you're a regular bettor and you're betting the spread or the over-under, that's fine. If you want to step your game up a little bit and just have things to look out for. I think in tonight's games, I don't know if I've even seen, we have 4 games up tonight for the NBA playoffs. I don't think I saw any reverse line movement today looking at these lines.
The spreads themselves, I didn't see any, but a couple of the over-unders. So
to
dive into that, there's the same exact thing. So hypothetically, the Nets are at over-unders 230, the total.
Yeah.
And the people are heavy on the over.
Yeah.
If that line drops down to 229, 228, then you're seeing reverse line movement. There's something that Vegas thinks that is going to occur that's going to cause that game to go under. Mm-hmm. And again, you have to think about it in a million different ways, because also on top of injuries potentially causing reverse line movement, there could be someone that comes in and puts fucking $500,000 on the Celtics.
That's true too.
+5, and that drops the line because they're like, shit, we just even this all out.
Yeah.
Now let's hedge ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Drop the line down a little bit. This guy's already got it at +5, and that $500K makes up for 80% of the money that's on the Nets.
Yeah.
Then, you're seeing line movement. My point of that is there's so many variables that could cause that movement in the line.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point because I think yesterday or last episode we were talking a little bit about how I look at not just the percentage of bets but the percentage of money.
Yes.
Because we know from a money perspective, Vegas wants to be as close to 50-50 as possible. There's a couple games tonight where it's way out of whack. Really, it's the Nets game, and that's how it's been pretty much every game. Where the percentage of money is just so clearly on one side. Mm-hmm. So you expect to see some line movement, but there really hasn't been a ton really in all these games, and it's just because I think they put the line out and they're playing every 2 or 3 days, so it's not like football where you have all week for the line to move.
Yeah, and as we talked about too, like that line movement for that game 3 had reverse line movement.
Yeah.
The Nets were getting pummeled money-wise game 1 and game 2.
Yeah.
And game 3, what some people don't realize too is the amount of money that Vegas made off the lopsided public betting percentages in game 3 probably covered them for game 2 and game 1.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of juice.
Yep.
And then the amount of money that was actually paid out for just that 7% of the bettors on the Celtics.
On the Celtics, yeah.
They covered the rest of the money that came in on the Nets is just pocketed.
Yeah, they might just be good on the whole series, and from this point out, they're up money on the series, Vegas is, so it's kind of free money. It's house money for them at this point.
Exactly.
Because it was just so heavy bet one way.
Yeah, and I think that's, as Greg mentioned, I think you need to evaluate bets from every different angle. You can't just specifically look at reverse line movement and think, oh, this is a fucking God-given gift. Every time reverse line movement comes in, we're going to win every game. Now, there's a ton of different variables that go into it, and there's a ton of different reasons why that line can move, and also the outcome is going to change every single time,
Yeah.
There's a million different things that go into it, and you need to dive deeper into more depth into each specific angle that you can look at the game and then take it for what it is. Take the information that you gathered and use it to make an educated guess on your pick.
Yeah.
That's what handicapping is, That's what guys do every single day in a ton of different industries besides sports betting. Like I mentioned, stock market.
Yeah.
They're making educated guesses based on the information that they're given.
Yeah, if you go 50 for 50, every game from Vegas' perspective is hopefully a coin flip.
Yep.
So we're just trying to get you that 60-70% hit rate because then you're just making money.
Uh-huh.
That's all you need to do when you're, again, for your point, the reverse line movement, it's not going to hit 100% of the time. But maybe it hits 70% of the time, then you're making really good money if you're hitting 70%.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people don't think about is for the average bettor, you think you look at it, right, and you're like, if I go 50%, I'm even money.
No.
Which is just the farthest thing from the truth. That's actually where Vegas just collects money.
Yeah.
They're catching that 10% VIG every single time, 10% juice on it. And they're just like, yeah, we'll keep, exchanging money for you, but we're going to take our little fee every single time.
Yeah.
But the opportunity out there, if you can get to 55%, 60%, which is fucking, in the long term, is difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible as long as you stay diligent on your process, stay strict on your system, and, keep moving forward and gradually growing instead of trying to make the big bucks overnight.
Yeah, I think that was just a good kind of intro to reverse line movement. Again, each episode we're going to try to come up with a topic. We might come back to some of these topics and dive a little deeper, give some more background on this stuff, come with some more examples of stuff. But we had an NBA slate yesterday that we talked about in our last episode.
Yep.
So let's get to that. Let's talk about how we did yesterday. It wasn't a great day. Weather-wise, it wasn't a great day. Memorial Day weekend, but it wasn't a great day, too, for us betting-wise.
Yeah, it was ugly for me.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, even yesterday, so I went 1-for-1 against the spread, 1-for-1 on my over-unders. We're losing money at 1-for-1 when it's 50-50.
Yep.
My player props were 1-for-3. So I'm $100 better, so I was minus, I lost $10 against the spread. Lost $10 on the over-under. Lost $20 on my props. So I was down $40 yesterday. You went all spread picks yesterday, so you didn't have any over-unders.
Nope.
You were 0 for 4 on the spread picks, which happens. I mean, that's why we talk about with the money management and unit betting. You take your bankroll, you understand, and you're betting a small percentage of your bankroll every day. You're going to have cold days. You're going to have cold weeks, and God, I hope this happens to no one, but you're going to have cold months.
Yeah, and the public was hot yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those games, I pretty much faded the public on every single one. You mentioned earlier on where the favorites went 4-0.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, so that's something that happens.
Especially come kind of playoff time, I think it happens a little bit more. Especially the betting favorites, I feel like have good days. Just because Vegas is trying to, kind of reel people in.
Yeah, and I think in early on in the series is too, especially when some of these teams keep it close. There's going to be blowouts. Like, I think the worst thing that could have happened for some of the people that have been betting the Grizzlies is. That's why I tailed them game 3 because I thought they have a good team, which they do. But with the Jazz, with how good they've been playing this year, they are head and heels more talented and just a better team overall than the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And yesterday there was money on the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
It wasn't alarming. It wasn't an alarming amount. Like it
Right.
wasn't heavy on the Grizzlies, but it was 50-50, and that was just enough for Vegas to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, so you went 0 for 4 against the spread, 0 for 0 on over-unders, which sometimes the best bet's no bet.
Yep.
And player props, 2 for 5.
Yep.
Overall, you're minus 440. So yesterday, I think, though, you were 1 for 2 yesterday, prop-wise, but lifetime.
2 for 5.
Yeah, so lifetime, I'm 3 for 4 against the spread, 4 and 1 on over-unders. So that's something to look at. Again, when you're doing this stuff, you want to keep track because we're coming in every day. We're putting our bets in. We're talking about bets with people all day long.
Definitely.
I haven't realized that I'm 4 and 1 so far on over-unders. So then today I gave a pretty good look at the over-unders because I'm apparently hitting on those. So player props, 2 for 6. That, and again, with the player props, the parlays, all that stuff, it's long shots, long odds, so you don't have to hit at a higher clip to be making money. Right now, through 2 episodes, Conor, you're 1 for 5 against the spread, 1 for 2 over under, and 2 and 6 on player props.
Yeah.
So I'm up $90. You're down $570 on $100 bets, which for us is no problem. I mean, we're gonna keep going at this, and this is just how it goes when it comes to gambling.
Yeah, and this is, as you'll see, as Greg mentioned, this is just over 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So as we show you a more long term of a sample, you'll see the runs that come with sports betting and the ups and downs that come with it.
Yeah.
But if you're able to stay, diligent and strict on yourself as far as the management of your money and the amount of money you're putting on your bets, you'll see the money keep growing.
Yeah, what you don't want to have happen is you start getting hot on one type of bet, like over-unders and double, triple units on that stuff.
Exactly.
Because that's when you start getting cold, and that's when you lose your bankroll.
Yep, and that's where you just start to kill yourself, because then it just becomes a mental battle.
Yeah,
you start battling with yourself instead of battling with the sports books.
That's the last thing you want to be. You want to be focused. All your energy wants to be focused on Vegas, not yourself and
exactly
mental space.
It's already difficult enough.
It's hard
fighting the picks. You don't need to be fucking fighting yourself out there.
All right, so let's get into the first matchup. We kind of recapped how we did previously. We got 4 games tonight.
Yep.
And the first game tonight is going to be the Knicks at the Hawks. It's 1 o'clock on ABC. Atlanta's up 2-1, even though they're the underdog going into the series. They're the favorites. They're home. It's -5. The over-under is exactly 209 right now. And again, we talked about this in previous episodes. We're going to talk about this probably every episode. All our lines are from FanDuel.
Shout out to FanDuel.
Yeah, we think it's just the best website, the best app for that online sports. Just for us looking at odds and putting parlays together and stuff like that. If you're in a state where FanDuel is an option, whether in the casino or online, we think it's the best. So we kind of get everything from them.
Yeah, and you might think it's ironic or backwards because we live in New York and we don't have access to it.
Yeah.
But for us, it's an hour drive to get down there.
Yeah.
Easy access. But also, we really just use it because it has so many different bets that we can find in New York if we go to a casino.
Yeah.
So it gives us an idea of what bets are out there, what's available, and if there's something that we see that FanDuel's offering that one of these New York casinos isn't, then we have no problem making the drive down there because it's the same distance as some of the other casinos.
Yeah.
Now, once FanDuel, or once New York, I should say, is able to adapt that mobile betting application, and once we're able to do that full time in New York, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. I'm sure FanDuel will get up here and said, unless New York decides to do some bullshit and
some whack shit,
run it state ran or some shit like they were talking about.
Only 2 people can operate or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's going to be, they'll monopolize it some way, but with this matchup, I think you have some good picks on it, or?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think we're both New York guys. We're both Knicks fans.
Yep.
But I think so far this series, we've been leaning the Hawks.
Yep.
And I'm leaning the Hawks again. My pick for the game is going to be the under 209.
Okay.
Just because it hurts me to keep taking the Hawks every game. And I think that, I think we talked about it yesterday, and I think we're going to talk about it every game. It looks so hard for the Knicks to score offense on some stretches I just can't. It's one of those things where if I put my head on my pillow tonight before the game and I fall asleep, right now it's 1 o'clock game, but I use this analogy all the time. If I go to bed and I have money on the Knicks and I wake up and the Knicks don't cover, like I'm going to be, my morning is ruined.
Yeah, it's going to be ruined.
Yeah, because it's just like the Knicks look bad. The Knicks have a tough time doing stuff. Why would I put money on the Knicks? So that's why I'm kind of leaning the under, because it looks so hard for them to score sometimes.
100%.
Their defense is good. But, I just think that, the Hawks, I think last game I had them win by 11. That was nice because they ended up winning exactly by 11.
Which got sketchy at the end.
It got like real close real fast.
I think R.J. Barrett hit like a 3 at the end to get it to 11.
For no reason. Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be my pick tonight. It's going to be the under 209 just because I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be tight most of the game. And,
what are you doing on that to win 100? So you're going to put 110
Yeah, about 110 to win 100. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, honestly, I'm 100% with you, and that's what makes me
a little nervous.
Well, that's what's making me take the Knicks tonight.
Oh, okay.
I've been so bad with the spread, and I want to take the Hawks.
Yeah.
And because I think they're going to dominate the game.
Yeah.
And I hate the Knicks so much that I'm taking the Knicks.
To bet them. Yeah, you
I'm taking the Knicks
plus
5.
Yeah.
I think the money is coming in on Atlanta because of the game. They saw the Hawks come out and dominate the Knicks.
I think it's the first time where the majority of the money is on the Hawks.
Yeah,
I think every time the money has been on the Knicks, good amount, like 70%, 80% has been on the Knicks.
Which I think is the reason that Vegas has got this line at what it is. I think -5 is enough to entice the Hawks or entice the bettors to take the Hawks because of what they saw last game.
Yeah, 58% of the money is on the Hawks right now.
Yeah, so I'm leaning towards the Knicks +5. I think they can. They're such a good defensive team that I think they can figure something out. They've figured something out with 4 of the 5 guys on the court.
Yep.
Trae Young has been the problem.
Yeah.
And I think tonight they're going to put something together strategy-wise defensively that is going to hold him to a lower game. And I think the Knicks are going to put up enough points to cover. And I hope they win. I would even sprinkle some money on the money line because I think it's like +160.
Yeah.
But the bet I'm going to obviously take is the Knicks +5. I'm going to do 110 to win 100.
Okay. All right.
I like that bet.
Yeah, and I think we did last time. We kind of talked about it. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we kind of just show you how to do. So for each of these games, we give an over and under or, a bet against the spread because we think that hits for most people. But if you're a more advanced bettor or you like something a little different, we also give out prop bets. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm addicted to the player prop, like parlays.
Yep.
So let's jump over to, if you're watching on FanDuel, we're going to move over to FanDuel's website. And here, if you're on the FanDuel website, you're just going to click Sportsbook, and it's going to open up a browser for you. And then on the left side under popular, you're going to click NBA. And that's just going to give you all the NBA games tonight. It's going to give you all the lines that you want to look at. And for me, I have all mine ready, so I'll kick us off. So my player prop tonight is going to be under the point section. Over here, I'm going to take Trae Young to score 25.
Okay.
I know you're saying they're going to come out, they're going to try to focus on Trae Young, but we were talking about in a previous episode the difference between like a good player, an all-star, and like a playmaker. I really do believe Trae Young's a playmaker.
I do too.
So he makes everyone better around him, and he's going to get his. So I like Trae Young to score 25. I'm going back to the well with Bogdanovich to get 3 or more threes.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Julius Randle to get 8 or more rebounds. I think that's kind of been my player prop for this series every game.
Yeah.
And it's hit a couple times, or it's hit once. But tonight, to kind of jazz it up a little bit, because we're getting kind of closer to the end of the series.
Yep. Give a little more juice in there.
Yeah, a little more something. I'm going to take RJ Barrett to score 15.
Okay.
I think that's doable for him.
He definitely looks for his shot enough.
He shoots enough. Sometimes he airballs it, which drives me nuts as a Knicks fan. But I hope he just gets to the rim a little bit more. I think
he settles. He settles on his 3 a lot.
Yeah, and it's just like I hope that he just puts it together a little bit more. We can't rely on Derrick Rose every game. Nah. We need another scorer. So that parlay, my player prop parlay, is 4 people: Trae Young to score 25, RJ Barrett to score 15. Bogdanovich to make 3 threes, Julius Randle to get 8 rebounds. Right now on FanDuel, it's sitting at plus 434.
And what are you going to put on that, 25?
Yeah, so, okay, that's a great point too. So I'm $100 better. That's what I kind of bet at. So to your point for the over-unders and the spreads, I bet 110 to win 100. For my player props, I'm trying to be consistent and bet a quarter of a unit for everyone.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bet $25 on this.
And what would that win on the calculator?
So yes, that's a great point. So if you're over here on FanDuel, so you have your prop put together on the right side, it brings your ticket up for you. In the wager section, you can just type in $25, and it gives us our math right there. It's $108.58.
Beautiful. I mean, we've spoken highly of FanDuel ever since we've started because of the accessibility to it. It's great that we're out of state and it still allows us to access their sports book, even though you can't place a bet on it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's so user friendly and the way you can just maneuver around there, put together these parlays without placing the bets, just to give yourself an idea, I think just makes them top of the industry as far as available sports books.
Yeah, and you get something here that you don't like, you click the red trash can on the side to get rid of it, or if you just don't like the whole slip, you can just click the trash can at the bottom. It clears out your slip.
Clears out the whole thing. And
that's perfect for us because now we're gonna. Do you have any player props on this one?
Today I'm doing all player props, but I'm sticking away from the parlays. I'm just trying to find good values.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna go with Reggie Bullock points.
Okay.
And his are over. If you go to Reggie,
the alternate?
Nah, just the regular
points.
Yep. Which he's down just a little bit right there. And I'm doing $50 for the over, and it should be plus 100.
Yep. Plus, so, it's 11.5 points.
Yep. So 50 to win 50, over 11.5. I think if the Knicks are going to cover the spread and keep this game close, they're going to need a balanced scoring attack.
Yeah.
And Reggie Bullock, he does a great job spotting up. Yep. I see him hitting 4 threes tonight, and that's getting me right to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to come out and do that. He gets enough minutes. He can get enough shots up. And I just see the value in that plus 100.
Yeah.
I think he maybe averages a little bit less than that per game during the regular season. But I think, as I mentioned, if the Knicks want to win this game, they need more production from everyone on the court.
And if they want to win this series, they need to win this game.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, you have to get one in Atlanta at some point, just
mathematically
mathematically to win the series.
Yeah, the Hawks got one in New York. They need to steal one back. So
okay. All right, so that's good for matchup 1 of the night. So that's the early game. Let's kick it over to our second game. So our second game tonight is going to be Phoenix Suns going to LA. Yep. So this is game 4 of the series. So Phoenix Suns at LA, 3:30 on ABC. So this is right after the next game, leads right into this game. Mm-hmm. And LA's up 2-1 in the series. We all know the Suns won game 1. Lakers have won the last 2.
Yeah.
They've looked a lot better, and it shows that the spread is the Lakers minus 6.5. The over-under is 209.5. Again, this is all the stuff off FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're online, you can look all this stuff up on their main page, on their main NBA page. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on this game? I think that the Suns, even though they're the higher seed, I think they're just outmatched.
Yeah,
throughout the lineup 1 through 5.
I was gonna say, I think LeBron James and the experience the Lakers have is just, it's proven to be too much for the Suns. Suns are great. I think
he's like 14-0 in first round matchups in his career.
2 years that the Suns can keep their team together, and maybe it obviously sucks. Chris Paul, gets fucked with an injury once again.
Yeah. I mean, that's just his career, though.
Yeah, that's just proven at this point that it's like, if I could bet that in the beginning of the year that the Suns make the playoffs and Chris Paul gets hurt, I would take that.
Hell of a prop.
Yeah, I would probably take that because it's just guaranteed.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, I think the Lakers are just a little too much. I'm not taking the spread in this one. I'm taking the over 209.5.
Okay.
I think the Suns are going to come out and put something together where they're going to keep this game, relatively close. And if they're going to do that, they need to score the ball.
Yeah.
Defensively, the Lakers play great defense. And the Suns can as well. But I think for the Suns to keep this game close, they need to get into the hundreds.
Yep.
And the Lakers can do that easily, even if they're playing 40%. They can put up 100 with the talent they have. And I see this game being like, 110 to 105, something like that. So I'm taking the over 209.5.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I just think the Lakers I think they're still gonna win the game, but the Suns are gonna keep it close. And for that to occur, I think there needs to be some points on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, that's nice too. Like, we talk about the percentage of the money as something that we look at right now. 78% of the money, 77% of the money is on the under. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of fading the public on that. Going for the over, I like that.
Yep.
Speaking of fading the public, 63% of the money is on the Suns. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are saying it's kind of like we were saying for the Knicks. If you're going to win this series or if you're going to make this a competitive series, you have to win tonight.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's a competitive series.
I don't know.
I think the Lakers, I think LeBron especially, he sees the West right now. Everything's 2-2, 2-1. Like these series look like they're going to be going for a little bit. I think he's talking to LA and he's like, well, we need to win. We need to win now. We played a playoff. We played a play-in game. We need some rest.
Yeah, we need a break.
So I think he puts the hammer down. My pick tonight's going to be the Lakers minus 6.5.
Okay.
I think they're just going to, to your point, I think it's going to be high scoring, but I think it's not going to be close.
Yeah. And when I mean close, like I don't even say the Suns are going to cover. I think they just need to keep it within. They're going to play a tough game.
Yeah, and when you're betting the over-unders, the most important thing is that coming down the stretch, it's a close game.
Exactly.
Because your starters are in, you're fouling, you're extending the game, you're keeping it.
That's where you make up those points.
That's where you make up those points on those over-unders.
It's funny you mentioned that, and this sounds like a totally different topic, but have you seen the ending of some of these games? Like, I think it was the Blazers-Nuggets game the other night.
They scored
50-some points in the final 6 minutes.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
no.
For the game to go over.
Yeah, and that's the craziest part and that's why, the over, it's not, the over's not over until it's over. You don't know, especially with these NBA games, when it's NFL or some of these other sports. But for NBA, they can slow the game down so much, and they can just score so quickly. You can just hit 3 after 3 after 3. You can get right back into an over-under. So I like the over on that for you. I got the Lakers minus 6.5. What do you have for a player prop tonight? Or do you have a prop bet for this game?
I have a prop bet for this game.
Okay.
It's going to be LeBron James rebounds.
Okay. All right, so again, if you're at the Sportsbook, if you're on the FanDuel, you just go right to LA Lakers and you click more wagers here.
Yep.
And then it brings everything up. So you're going rebounds. So in this middle ribbon here, we're going to click rebounds.
And it should be 8+.
8+.
LeBron James, I believe, is plus 115.
Oh, see, so there we go. We already got some line movement. You're at plus 128 by the time of recording.
Let's go.
So there you go. So LeBron James to get 8 rebounds.
Yep.
Plus 128. Single prop for you. I'm, of course, kind of a degenerate when it comes to this stuff, so I got all kinds of parlays in mind. And, of course, it reloaded. So I don't think I had LeBron James to get 8 rebounds in mind. But because you're on it, I hope you don't think I'm jinxing you, I'm taking it. I thought it was going to be like minus 220. Yeah. Like, I think he's a triple-double guy, 8 or more. Getting plus odds, I like that. Mm-hmm. I like LeBron to score 20. I like Anthony Davis to score 20. And then also to your point for rebounds, I like DeAndre Ayton to get 8.
Okay.
So for these, again, just kind of going back and forth, that's LeBron James to get 8 rebounds, DeAndre Ayton to get 8 rebounds, LeBron James to score 20, Anthony Davis to score 20. I think it's a big night for all 3 of those guys, but especially LeBron and AD. I think they want to close this series out. They want to go back to LA up 3-1. That bet right there, that prop that I have is plus 312. And I'm really trying to get these bets to plus 300, plus 400, 500. So this way, if I have a quarter unit on each one, all I need to do is hit one. And I'm kind of even money on the night.
Yep.
So again, LeBron plus 8 rebounds, Ayton plus 8 rebounds, LeBron James to score 20, AD to score 20. That gets me to plus 312. So to your point, I just go to the wager section. I put in 25. It's 25 to win 77.91.
Okay. So yeah, just to break mine down, I'm gonna do 110 to win 100 on the Lakers over, and then LeBron James 8 or more rebounds. I'm gonna do $50 to win 64.
Okay. Yeah, for my Lakers bet, I'm going 110 to win 100. All right, so that gives us our first 2 matchups. Those are the day games, so those are both on ABC. Then for the night games, it switches over. And the first one of the evening games is going to be Brooklyn versus Boston. I would have said, going into Game 3, the series is pretty lopsided. But now Boston came out and won Game 3. So Brooklyn at Boston, 7 o'clock on TNT. Brooklyn's up 2-1 right now in the series. It's in Boston. And Brooklyn's 7.5 point favorites. 228 for the over-under. Again, everything here is presented by FanDuel. So, Conor, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about this game? Are you looking at the over/under? Are you looking at the spread?
I'm going for another total on this one. I'm taking the Celtics Nets under 228.5. I'm going to do 110 to win 100. I think the Nets are somewhat embarrassed after last game.
Yep.
And I think they're going to come out with a much better defensive performance. The only thing I'm scared about is I think they can put up like 150 if they wanted to.
Well, that kind of leads into my bet. So yeah, I'm interested in what you're thinking. Okay.
That's why I'm a little bit scared about this. I do like the under because I think I've seen the reverse line movement in this one a little bit, as we spoke about on the podcast earlier. So I see that there's a good amount of money on the over, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken.
Oh, it's on the under?
All the money is on the under.
Let me see here.
All the under's money is on the under. See, so this is interesting because, like you're saying, it's a kind of a back and forth on. I'll refresh this just to make sure I'm not losing my mind.
Well, see, you're on Action Network.
I'm on Action Network,
and I've been using Sports Insights.
Okay, so this is great. So let's dive into it. So on Action Network, 99% of the money's on the under.
So that's the one thing I have a difficult issue with Action Network is that a lot of their their bets are people that have actually come on that site
Yes.
and picked the bet.
Yes.
So how many bets have been made on the side there? You see that
10,743.
So
which we know there's a lot more people betting.
Exactly.
The
So
NBA
I'm looking at Sports Insights, who I've mentioned uses 5 or 7 sports books throughout Nevada, New Jersey, and other states.
Yep.
And on here it has 63% of the money on the over.
Okay.
The line movement has gone from 229.5 to 228.5.
Yes.
So that's where I see the reverse line movement. Action Network's obviously portraying something different than what I'm seeing.
Yep.
I like Sports Insights, as I mentioned, because it has the average of all 7 of these sports books combined into their percentage.
Okay.
So as you look at the whole landscape of it, 63% over this whole range of sports books is on the over.
Yeah.
And that line dropped a point.
Okay.
So that's where reverse line movement comes in with me. Everyone's full strength, besides obviously the Celtics, who have been without Jaylen Brown the whole series.
Yep.
But I see both of these teams coming out, putting together a little bit more of a defensive-minded game.
Yep.
Especially on the Brooklyn Nets side.
Yep.
Only thing I'm afraid about is they put up 130, but as long as they can hold the Celtics under 100, that still has a chance to cover.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm going to do 110 to win 100 on the under. And if you want to kick it off with your pick next, then
Yeah, I mean, so it's tough because when I was looking at this, I saw 99% of the money was on the under. I thought that was a little high, but 92% of the money is on the Brooklyn Nets -7.5. So right away, I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Celtics, maybe the over. And even though we talked about it, and this is what's tough, is you have a system, you talk about reverse line movement a little bit, and then you have to kind of just get your feel for it. And I'm gonna switch it up. I had the over just because of the way this was set on the Action Network, because we talked about this, because of the line movement. I'm gonna stay away from it, and I'm just gonna take the Celtics. I'm gonna take the Celtics plus 8 right now on FanDuel. So I'm going to take Celtics plus 8. And I do agree with you that I think that Brooklyn got him. I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but that's why I was kind of leaning the over first, because I was thinking the over because I thought both teams were going to come out and score. No one plays defense on Brooklyn.
yeah.
And that's why I think that Boston can kind of keep this close. I mean, plus 8, plus 10, plus, those are a lot of points. So, especially in the NBA when hopefully, it comes down to a last second bucket.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Celtics plus 8. Again, I'm going to bet 110 to win 100 on that. And I just think, is Tatum going to have another 50-point night tonight? I don't think so. No. But I think that a couple other people on their team might be able to step up.
Yeah.
And help out a little bit because Jaylen Brown's out.
He's got to ball out, though, for them to keep that.
He needs 40.
Yeah, he needs minimum 30.
Yeah.
And 40 if they want a good chance at winning the game, you know?
But again, I just don't think anyone's going to... who's playing defense on the Brooklyn Nets?
No one can.
Yeah.
KD can sort of match up with them.
Yeah.
And then they have the dude... Bruce Brown or whatever his name is off the bench, but he's another one that just is a little too small to match up with Tatum.
Yeah.
They don't have someone that matches up with him lengthwise and everything that he brings to the table. So it's definitely a difficult matchup for anyone on the Nets.
All right, so let's kick it over. Let's see if these player props. Yeah, they did save this time for me. So let's switch it over to these player props. Again, you had the under. I'm taking the Celtics plus 8. And then for my player props, I got them set up over here. So this way you guys can see I'm actually going to add someone to it right now because he's been a staple for me. I can't believe I forgot him when I was putting this together. So I'm going James Harden heavy. So I'm taking James Harden, but not points. I'm taking James Harden plus 6 assists. Okay. James Harden plus 6 rebounds.
Okay.
So
I think he's going for a trip dub.
Yeah, well, he might flirt with it, but I think last game I kind of leaned on Kyrie a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just Kyrie sometimes I think just mentally just weak.
Yeah.
I love, I think he's a great guy and everything, but
100%.
It's just I thought he was going to go to Boston. He was just going to come out and ball and dominate. Yeah. And then he just KD and James Harden are just who they are.
Yeah.
So that's for points that's for rebounds and assists. For points, again, we talked about it. Jason Tatum, he needs to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in my parlay. I'm going to take him to score 25 or more.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take Kevin Durant to score 25 or more.
Okay.
You know, he's their number one option. He's going to beat MVP if they win it. But the guy that I forgot, which I can't believe because he's been a staple for me, is Tristan Thompson on rebounds. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know if people forgot about him or what, but he's playing good minutes. And again, just no one's fighting for rebounds if you're on the Brooklyn Nets.
Nah, and he's like Tatum's like a Dennis Rodman of this era. He's a lot softer. But he's a check off the court for one.
Yeah.
He gets caught up in scandals all the time, sort of like Rodman. And all the dude does is get rebounds and play defense. He don't really score the ball.
No.
So I love Tatum. I would bet him honestly every game that he is
Thompson, you're saying?
to get 7 or more rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean, or 8 or more, whatever it may be.
8 or more, yeah.
And what is that just individually though?
Minus 600.
So we'll see. Yeah.
So that's what's tough about all these is this is my lowest probably prop bet of the night just because it's Tatum's going to have 25. I mean, again, I don't want to jinx myself, but Tatum should have 25.
Yep. Thompson
should have 8 rebounds. The harder ones are James Harden with his 6 assists and 6 rebounds. Yeah. But again, I think that he'll get his he had double-digit assists, I think, through 3 quarters the other night.
Well, he's more of a playmaker, too. Like, you had the Kyrie one the other night. Yeah. And I thought that was a good play, but he's not a distributor. Like, he's a point guard, but he's a score first, shoot first point guard. Yeah. And that just, he's never been that type where he gets the ball off, you know?
Yeah, unless LeBron's screaming at him.
Yeah.
But those odds, plus 171. So, again, that's going to be probably my lowest odds for prop bets for tonight, but... It's a 5-player prop, so there's a lot of things that have to go right. It has to be a close game because I need all these guys playing through it down the stretch. But that's why I'm going to be taking, again, Kevin Durant, 25 points, Jason Tatum, 25 points, Harden, 6 or more assists, Harden, 6 or more rebounds, Tristan Thompson, 8 or more rebounds, plus 171. Lock it up.
Yeah, so I have a player prop here.
Okay.
It's a little bit different of a...
So again, just cleaned out my slip. I can look at different stuff now.
Yeah, so go to player points.
Yeah.
And I'm adding one on here because I think it has good value to it.
Okay.
There's a section on there that should say highest point total for the game. And maybe it's in
popular.
Yeah, go to popular, slide down.
Okay. So again, like we talk about this with FanDuel, there are so many different things.
So many different bets.
It's incredible. So you're looking for highest points to record a triple-double to top point score. So here we go. So top point score, and that's just going to be both teams, no matter what, this guy is going to be the leading scorer on the night.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm taking...
Everyone's plus money.
Yep. Kevin Durant.
Easy enough.
Plus 230, I think it is.
240 here on my screen.
So let's add it up.
Yep.
And then I'm going to take Tatum as well.
For what?
The highest score. And what's his at?
So you're going to take separate bets?
Yes.
Because you're not going to... You can't parlay them.
Nope.
And then you see right here, again, with this is why we love FanDuel. 2 or more selections of the same event cannot be combined in a parlay. So normally it just parlays it for you. This one, it knows you can't parlay them. You don't get tricked on anything. He's minus 110.
Minus 110.
Yep, he's the only one that's
even.
That's
money.
A favorite or even money. Yep. Everyone else is plus money on that one.
So to break it down, I'm going to do my bets to give payouts and totals as well. I'm going to take the under in the game, 228.5.
Yep.
110 to win 100. And then I'm taking KD and Tatum both for 50.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I'm going to do KD $50 to win
120.
120.
Yep.
And then
Tatum, we're going to do 55.
55 to win 50. Yep.
Tatum 55 to 150. And I actually forgot to do mine, so I'm going to go back. I'll put this together again real quick for you guys so you can see. So again, I go to point section. I have Kevin Durant and Tatum to score 25. I'm going to go to rebounds and 6 or more rebounds for James Harden, 8 or more rebounds for Tristan Thompson, and I'm going to go to assists, and I'm going to take 6 or more assists for Harden. All those are heavy favorites. So that's why you got to parlay them. That's why I parlay them together. And I'm going to bet $25 on that. And my parlay at plus 171 is $25. And that's going to win me $42.77.
Okay. Like the value on that.
Yes, I mean, as we keep going, we're going to keep track of this stuff. We're going to be giving it to you guys and let you know how we're doing as from a betting perspective, but then also from a dollar perspective, because that's what we're all here to do, is to make money. And, you can get trapped up in the plus 300, plus 200, minus 110, whatever it is. So, we want to go more than 50-50, but on these parlays, if you can hit some of these that are plus 300, plus 400, you don't even need a winning record. You can be winning money.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing about it. So our fourth game tonight and our last game tonight is, I think it's like one of the best matchups in the whole playoffs right now.
100%.
So Los Angeles Clippers going to Dallas. The Clippers are the higher seed, but Dallas is up 2-1. It's 9:30 on TNT. And the Clippers, even though they're on the road, they're the favorite. Their Clippers are minus 3.5. The over-under is 221. Again, everything that we have here is from FanDuel. And, going into it, I think we talked offline last episode, which I wish we had it on the podcast. Mm-hmm. But it was Luka, was it 7 or more, 6 or more threes?
7 or more.
7 or more, and he had 7 on the dot. 7 or more threes was plus 1,100. It kills me that I didn't put that in.
Yeah, that would have been a nice hit.
I really do think this is like Luka's coming out party. I think that this season, he's had a couple good seasons, but with the rebounds, the assists, the playmaking ability, all that stuff, I think he's just unbelievable. And I mean, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are regarded as some of the best wing defenders in the NBA.
Definitely.
Both, I think, top 5 maybe. And Luka just seems not to be nonstop. And so is Tim Hardaway Jr., not to give away my player prop stuff. But Tim Hardaway Jr. is clicking. So what are you thinking about this game? What sticks out to you when you look at just like the over-unders and the spreads to start?
Well, I'm not sure. I've been reading some things, and I saw something that talked about Luka being questionable for today.
Oh boy.
I don't see that happening. I'm sure he's going to play no matter, unless it's some, crazy injury.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to weigh in that he's going to be there.
Yeah, let's just assume he's 100% right.
But I'm taking the Clippers 3.5.
Oh, okay.
I think they proved something last game to themselves. They're able to find a way defensively and offensively to get it done. So I'm taking them tonight. I think 3.5. I think they're going to tie the series up going back to LA. I think the money is coming in on the Clippers on this one.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just, for some reason, and it's not normally something I do. I normally am one that fades the public. I just see the Clippers tying this one up going back to LA. They're fighting. They need to win this one. If they go down 3-1, it's pretty much series over.
Yeah.
Huge Luka fan. Huge Luka fan here. But
yeah, I just think Kristaps, but that's just my Knicks fan.
Yeah, I'm with you there though too. But I think I just see the Clippers getting it done.
Actually, now that I say it, I actually love Kristaps because of the picks we're getting from him. So, I'm with you. I'm with you, and I'm against you. So I'm with you on the money being on the Clippers. That's what I see too. And then to me, I like the Mavs. I think that they're not looking at the percentages of what's being bet. I just see them being home. They're up 2-1. If they get this as a commanding lead, I think they're a younger team, maybe playoff experience wise, and just with Kristaps and Luka and Tim Hardaway, all kind of younger players. I think they need to win this. I think every game is a kind of, whatever you want to say in the playoffs. Every game is a must win, whatever it is. But I think if you're the Mavericks, you're sitting down and saying, listen, if we go out there and we smash tonight, we're home tonight, we'll be having the crowd with us. All we need to do is get one more after tonight.
Definitely.
We'll have 2 shots on it in LA. We'll have 1 shot back home. So that's why I'm just taking the Mavs. I was looking at the money line. I'm just going to take the Mavs plus 3.5.
Yep. Good value.
I think it's going to be a close game.
I just see this one. I see this one going 7 games.
Yeah, and that's kind of to my point for the LA series. I think LA is looking around being like these West Coast series are looking like, I think Portland's going to go 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers are going to go 6 or 7. I just personally, I don't know what it is, but I just have no faith in Paul George.
Yeah, I don't either.
Kawhi, because Kawhi, he's going to do him, and he's gonna be great. But even him, sometimes people talk about him being like top 5, top 10. It's like, yeah, he did an amazing thing in Toronto.
Yeah,
he was great on the Spurs as the 4th option.
Yeah,
but
yeah, he's not
he's that number 1 guy with no one else around him. I mean, that's the problem with the Clippers, is that they're a full team. They're 7 guys or 8 guys, whatever it is.
Yeah,
it gets tough towards the end of that lineup.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm taking the Mavs. Neither of us are taking the over/under on this. So the over/under was 221. The money's kind of 50-50, 53-47% on this. For me, it was just too high. Yeah. 221 was kind of one of the higher numbers on the night. That and the Nets one were both over to the 220 mark, and I just don't have a feel for it. Sometimes I think that the Clippers should be playing much better defense, but the Mavericks just look offensively like they can just compete with anyone.
Yeah, they put it together offensively. I mean, they move the ball well. Luka does a good job playmaking for others, so they're definitely a tough matchup. Yep. That slides into my player prop for today.
Okay, yeah. What are you looking at for the player prop wise?
So every other bet I've taken for $50. This one I see some value in.
Okay.
Today specifically.
Okay.
I think he's been a great addition to their team. He gets enough minutes to put up the points, but I just saw it and I was like, this looks too good to be true.
Yep.
But I'm taking Max Kleber.
Okay.
Total points.
Okay.
Over 7.5.
Okay, so you're going actually to his points.
Yes.
And then over 7.5. Okay.
And it should be just minus 110.
Yeah, minus 112 right now.
112.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do 112 to win 100.
Yep. Okay, so this is where you're stepping it up a little bit.
I'm gonna double my units on this one. Just because I like both my bets equally on this. And I'm doing 110 on the Clippers, so I'm just gonna match that with Max Kleber to get his points. He can shoot the ball. He plays good defense. He rebounds. So I think he's one of those guys that he might not create shots for himself with the ball in his hands, but he creates shots for himself other ways. Yeah. Doing the dirty stuff, getting offensive rebounds, getting steals, things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a name for it, but kind of like he plays, to me, I think he kind of plays like opportunity basketball.
That's perfect.
He's working hard like trip in and trip out down the court, and he's just gonna find an opportunity. Yeah. Someone's gonna slip up and fall a little off him on defense, and he'll just be open for an easy cut or something like that, or easy shot.
He's similar. He's a little more skilled offensively, but he's like Tristan Thompson, where he creates for himself, and then also people create for him. So he might set a pick and roll for Luka, and they double him, and he just slides right to the rim and gets a wide open layup.
Yep.
So I see the value in him.
4 baskets.
I think it's easy money.
And of course, I think as this series ramps up, I think more of the attention. I mean, I'm sure the attention's been on Luka the whole time, but I think more of the attention's going to be on Luka, because if you stop him, then you're making Tim Hardaway and Kristaps beat you, which they could put it up they could put it up with anyone, but it's not what Luka can do. I mean, Luka can shoot falling down 1-footed and stuff.
He does some amazing shit out there.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we talked a little bit earlier about the Clippers and the difference between how I feel about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So for my parlay tonight, I'm leaning on Kawhi. I think he's going to be the number 1 scorer for the Clippers. So I'm taking him plus 25. Okay. Luka, I'm stepping it up. I'm saying plus 30.
Okay.
So even though all the focus is on him, I think he knows they're in Dallas. They got the home court. They got to be cooking. He knows he has to be cooking. And he had 7 threes the other night. So I think that there's going to be some more opportunities. I think he's going to shoot, but I think he's going to also try to get to the rim a little bit more.
Okay.
Try to get some free throws. So I'm also going to take him threes, but I'm just going to take 3 or more.
Okay.
So I don't think it's going to be that crazy night like he had the other night. But again, he's going to shoot the ball. He's lights out from 40 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, he's unreal. And then Tim Hardaway, I'm going to take plus 3 threes.
What's 3 threes just straight up?
For Luka?
Yeah.
All right, so if you're on FanDuel, click this more for drop down and you go to threes, it's going to be negative a ton.
Minus like 600.
No, it's not. It's actually not as crazy as I thought. Minus 270.
Yeah, that's a great bet.
Yeah, so you put all four of those together. So again, Luka, 3 threes. Tim Hardaway, 3 threes. Luka to hit 30. Kawhi to score 25. You're at plus 322. And you're betting $25 to win $80.46.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I said, my Brooklyn spread, or my Brooklyn parlay, is the lowest one of the night. If I hit that and nothing else, I'm going to be down money. But if I hit any one of these, they're all $300-$400. I'm pretty close to even money on all my bets.
Okay.
So I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm happy with the way this is going. I mean, so we have a good mix tonight of over-unders and spreads.
Definitely.
We got some good player props. We got some single-player props. We got some parlays. If you're on the FanDuel site, you have any questions, leave us a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, shoot a DM to us on Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah.
I think we discussed a crucial topic when it comes to sports betting today, reverse line movement.
Yep.
But if you guys have any other strategies or topics that you'd like us to discuss, definitely don't hesitate to reach out, because we're looking to as Greg mentioned in past, to build a community here and give people the knowledge that they necessarily don't have, and that we took a lot of years and time to develop on our own.
Yep.
We want to make it a little bit easier for you guys moving forward, so you don't learn by losing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that a lot of people go through, is they go through the struggle of losing, and if they don't have the bankroll to sustain it,
Yep.
then they find themselves in a hole that unfortunately gambling can put you in.
Yeah.
But if you stick to your strategies and potentially follow our bets, if you're liking what we have to offer, then I can almost guarantee you'll see a positive outcome.
Yeah, and again, it's entertainment, it's for fun, gamble responsibly, all that good stuff.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Don't lose your shirt.
Yeah, don't lose your shirt. Give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you guys are thinking.
Yep. Subscribe to the YouTube.
Subscribe to the YouTube. All that's good stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone that took the time to listen.